Awesome. So today I am talking about overcoming your fear of selling. Now, the talk I'm going to give is primarily geared to people who are entrepreneurs, starting entrepreneurs, or they would like to one day be an entrepreneur. If you're already a salesperson, then this is going to be too basic for you. I'm sorry. But if you're not new to sales, then you're in the right place. Selling is your nightmare? No, Firkin, no. I'm going to help it be less of a nightmare, I hope. Awesome, it's working. Great. So my name is Shea Harty. I'm originally from New York, born and raised, and I now live in the Netherlands in Amsterdam, which is kind of like New York anyway. It's like I didn't even move. Same buildings, same people, watching culture. Some things are different, but it's pretty much the same. I want to tell you a little bit about my journey to getting into sales. And I think like a lot of people, my first jobs were working inside of a store or doing sales clerk or things like that. And that's kind of an introduction to sales. But then I spent a summer selling cars, Mazda cars. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. They told me to stand there and just talk about the car. So I learned everything I could about the engine, about the doors, about everything I could because I wanted to be good at it, but I really didn't know what I was doing. And I realized in hindsight that they wanted me because I was young, I was a girl, wear a skirt. It was so, in hindsight, I realized how male chauvinist that culture was, that because only men shopped in there. Women weren't buying Mazdas that much back then. So that was my first experience going into sales. What my dream was really to one day work on the stock market at the New York New York World Trade. I wanted to be on the sales floor, buying, selling stocks. I wanted to do all of that. I thought that was going to be my dream. The problem is that I was really afraid and kind of shy. I'm on the cusp of being an extrovert and an introvert. So there are days where having other people around gives me a lot of energy. And then there are days or moments where I just need to be by myself and regroup. And I think more and more people are realizing that there is no hard line that you're always introvert or you're always extrovert. Those people are very few and far between, and we all have a little bit of both. So in order to go to sell or to be a stockbroker, I realized I needed to come out of my comfort zone to push those comfort zones and to broaden my horizons, really take chances. So the first thing I did was I got into, I wasn't a model, this is a model, but I was a talent scout for a little while. And my job was to find men and women who could be models for this talent agency. And that was, you don't realize it's a sales job because you're inviting people and telling people that they're beautiful, but actually you have to go up to them and convince them, because not everyone thinks that they're beautiful and not everyone thinks that they should be a model. So you kind of have to sell the whole idea to them to bring more models into the agency. And that was kind of another gateway into transitioning into the sales world. And then I found investment firm. And they were looking for people to sell mutual funds and insurance. And this was really where I started to hone my first sales skills, because there was a mix of cold calling, but they really encouraged you to use the relationships that you have to create more relationships. So to get referrals, to have other people recommend you to sell or to talk about retirement funds or to sell insurance, and eventually I would be getting to stocks and bonds. I did not love this job. I loved meeting new people because I am a people person. I like people. I like talking to them. And I really believed in what I was selling because I thought that if you don't have your retirement plan together, then you risk, particularly in the US, if you don't have a retirement plan, you risk getting to that retirement age and not having enough to live off of and having to work in order to compensate what you don't have to live off. So I want to talk about overcoming your fear. What we're going to talk about today is the fear of doing the sales things, the sales strategies, but the way to overcome it is to first gain awareness about why you're afraid. What is it that's holding you back? Let's reduce that fear and let's use it. So I'm going to try to get through all of these to share. When I was putting this together, I had so much stuff I wanted to share with you guys, and I thought there's no way, 40 minutes, and I want to hear from you guys. So I'm going to do my best to give you as much as I can, but I also really want to know what you guys are doing. So, awareness. So why are we afraid? What is it that's making us afraid? And if you look in this slide, there are a bunch of different reasons. If you see one, if you don't see yours, please add it. But in the chat, tell me what is your fear. Tell all of us, and we'll share, and we'll see what comes up as the most common fears. And I'll come back into the chat later to look at it. But a lot of times, if you're a woman or a man, but I'm going to talk about women because it's a women in tech, owning your own business, whether it's a product or a service, is really personal to us because this is oftentimes, we consider this like another child or our first child. If you don't have any kids, you nurture it, you have this idea, you want it to grow. So it's very personal that you could talk about it with someone and they would reject it or reject you. So that's one of the reasons. Also, women, well, at least in our culture in America, and then also in different cultures, we're raised not to be too pushy or too aggressive. And society as a whole considers you to be bitchy. And you guys have all heard that, I'm sure, if you are pushy or aggressive. So as a woman, you kind of hold back on that because you don't want to be seen as bitchy. You don't want to be seen as pushy or aggressive. I have grown to the point where I don't care if I seem bitchy. I know that in my heart, I'm not bitchy. So if someone takes that the wrong way, I'll address that then. But I find it a little bit demeaning that if I'm going to be aggressive the same way a man is, then I'm going to be considered bitchy. That's not cool. Sometimes another reason people are afraid is because they think that by selling themselves, they're bragging. And I know that comes up a lot because you hear and you see other people who are doing it and you're like, ooh, that doesn't look good. What they're doing doesn't look good. They're talking about themselves a little too much, but there is a way that you can do it, that you can be authentic about it and still be yourself and still sell to someone else your service or product. So that you shouldn't shy away from that. There is a fine line. Another one that I found was that there are women who would rather be liked than be rich. Being rich is not important. They just don't want people not to like them. And when you're selling, you're going to come up with some rejections. And there are going to be people who don't agree with what you're selling they might not even like you. And, that's okay. You're not for everyone. I'm not for everyone. Some people like me and some people won't. That's still okay. You just have to understand that can happen, and everyone doesn't have to like you. And I think internally we all know this. It just sucks when you find out someone doesn't like you, right? We talked about getting rejected. Oh, this is another one. Why women are often afraid. This is a big one. I hear it a lot, that you don't have enough education. You're not ready yet. Like you don't know enough. You don't have the PhD. You don't have the master's. You didn't take the right coding class. You need to take another coding class. You don't have the business degree. You didn't take marketing. You're going to wait until you get those classes and then it just doesn't happen. And the education is often another form of procrastination. So if that's one of your things, I want you to think about, where's the line where you're going to stop saying, when is it going to be enough for you that you are enough, that what you know is enough, and that you're worth going forward with your dream and your passion. Find your passion. Now, I don't mean the sexy passion here. I want you to know within yourself why you want to sell this product or service. Is it because you feel that what you're doing or what you're presenting is going to impact someone's life and change it for the better? Then you should hold on to that. And that's why you don't give up. And that's why you keep pushing. And that's why, you put up with the rejections and those things. Find out what it is that that is driving you to keep doing this. It could be, if you're a mom, sometimes moms are starting their own business because they want to be able to provide for their family. If they're a single mom, even more so. They want to provide for their family in a way that also makes them feel good. And I find this with a lot of women, we want to do something right in the world. We do want to do good in the world. And we think that our service, our product, our way of being can make a difference. And why shouldn't it? Why shouldn't we keep trying and going for that? In anything you do, we need to be prepared. So, like when, and a lot of women, we do this, we pack to go on a trip and we put in extra stuff. I do this. I go away for 2 days. I pack 5 underwears and bras. I pack the extra shirt, the extra pair of jeans, just in case, because you never know. Something might happen. That's how you want to prepare for any sales meeting or anytime you're going to speak with a client. You want to be prepared that you have all your information, that you know about the people, the person that you're meeting, and that you know what their pain is. What is the problem they're trying to solve, and what is the solution that you're going to bring to it? You also want to address any objections that they might have. The more you prepare, the better. The more you know, the better. The more confident that you go in there. So, yeah. Do your research. And by this, I mean, if this is not and I always agree more with a warm cold than a cold call, because then you have someone that can tell you a little bit more about the person you're going to meet. Whether it's warm or cold, make sure, thank God for social media and the internet. You can look up pretty much anything about people and find out enough information about them if they're using the internet. If they're not, then you know where they work because you're going to be meeting with them, or you know someone someone via them. So find out as much as you can, gather that information, understand how they think, and understand what is their own personal goal for wanting to solve this problem. It might not always be what you think it is. It might not always be to save money. It might be that they want prestige. It might be that they want recognition. You might find that it's not what you expected. Do as much research as you can, but when you get in the room, just ask. Anything that you don't know, just ask. Because I can't see the other screen, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment just in case. Can I stop sharing? Oh, look at that. Just want to make sure everyone's okay. All right, cool. I'm going to go back to my little tab here. Great. Do your research. The next thing is practice. Do you see this guy? He's practicing his facial expressions. One of the things I learned when I was doing pretty much anything is that there are times where I'm talking to someone and I look way over here and I look over here, and I look over here. I don't know where I'm looking at, but just practice how you look. Smiling is really big. Studies show that if you deliver good news, bad news, sad news with a smile, people will take it in a little bit differently. So you don't need to go. I hate when men often tell women, oh, smile, oh, smile. Why do I need to smile? My normal face looks happy. I don't need to smile. So find out where your happy looks like and show it as much as you can. It might not be that whole cheerleader smile. We're not cheerleaders. So, well, I'm not. Some of you might be, but I'm not. And share that practice. Also practice what you want to say. When you're in a meeting, it's going to be a longer talk. It's not going to be an elevator pitch. So you need to understand what words do you want to use to describe your product or your service? What words do you want to use to describe yourself? What do you want to leave out about your background that's not going to be relevant to that meeting? And practice what it sounds like in your head and out loud when you say it. So writing it down is great, but say it out loud and hear yourself say it and say, oh, no, that's not how I want to say it. That's not what I want to happen. Also practice objections. I can't say this enough. Practicing your objections is one of the biggest things. What are they going to say? Or what are they not going to like that you're going to need to address up front or when they ask you? Jump into the deep end. So the thing about these fears is that they're not actually going to go away. You're always going to be afraid. And these are just things that we're going to talk about to help reduce the fear. So I'm not a big swimmer. I'm not a very good swimmer. I can swim, but I'm not like, Olympic swimmer here. But I know when you go to the beach or to the pool, the water's always cold. Doesn't matter how hot it is. The water always feels cold. I always go to the deep end. And then I'm one of those people that when I jump in, I pinch my nose. This is kind of like my little safety net. I don't want water in my nose. It's how I protect myself. When I'm saying jump into the deep end, I'm not saying jump in blind. I'm saying find that thing, pinching your nose. Find that thing that's going to give you a little bit of comfort that you're going to be okay. Is it having a wingman there with you? It could be a friend that you pretend is a colleague. I've done that. It could be some people like to have a necklace or a stone or something from a family member that means something to them. Just kind of like hey, just when I feel it, I'll know that they're with me. Whatever it is, it could be having a script. Sometimes just having a script and just having your cards, your notes, or whatever. So you don't have to go look at it, but it's there if you need it. You can always go back and look. Whatever it is, don't let your fear stop you from jumping into the deep end, because that's where we want to be. If we're starting our own business, we know we want it to really do the impact and really change lives the way that we imagine it will. So let's go for it. I want to talk about some fear reduction tips. So there's one thing that I use. It's a breathing exercise, and someone had told me that the Navy SEALs do this. Basically what it is, it's called 4-7-8. And when you're starting to get nervous, or you feel that kind of tension in your chest, and you're not sure, if it's a kind of nerve that's so extreme that you're like, oh my God, I need to calm down. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, let it out for 8 seconds. So breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, and let it out for 8 seconds. And do that a few times and you'll feel a world of difference afterward. My other favorite one is a Superwoman stance. Have you ever seen this? You stand in front of the mirror, hands on your hip, like Superwoman. And do that a few times in the mirror before any meeting and start to feel that power that's within you, that you can totally do this, because you can. You absolutely can. Talked about setting already, set a limit on the education. Absolutely get an education, absolutely learn all that you can. Knowledgeable, the more knowledge is always better, but know that when isn't it enough? How much do you need? Do you really need the PhD before you start? Do you really need the extra classes, the extra coding classes before you start? What is it that's really holding you back? You don't have to know anything. Oh, learn rapport techniques. This is another thing that I'm not going to go into great detail about, but knowing how to create rapport when you're meeting people, and there are techniques like mirroring and also labeling. And these are NLP, NLP, that you can use that help you to let the other person know that you're listening and that you're connecting with them. Because when people feel that, their guard comes down and they're more susceptible or more willing to hear what you have to say. Like I said, warm calls are better than cold calls, because then at least someone has introduced you. You already have one thing in common. You know this person. So I always recommend doing that. Build any relationship before you meet, whether you're building the relationship online or you're building relationship through someone else because someone else has recommended you. If you're doing a business to consumer business, B2C, then that's often easier because you'll have a social media account and you'll be talking directly to whoever your customers will be. Create that relationship with them so that when they are ready to work with you, then they feel like they already know you. It's a little bit harder with B2B, but hopefully if you have someone recommending you or introducing you, then that kind of makes it a bit easier. If you're doing B2B, the first meeting is not the closer. It is not. A lot of people go in there and they think, okay, I'm going to go into this meeting and I'm going to win them over in the first one. The first one is more of an introduction. So use that time to ask as many questions as you can, gather as much information as you can about the company and about the person who's making the decisions. Because oftentimes one person, the person who introduces you isn't the decision maker, and they have a different objective than the decision maker. So find out what their objectives are. What do they want to solve? What's the problem that they want to solve? And try to address that when you get to the point of meeting them. Oh, be like water. You're going to get objections. Things are going to happen. Be like water. Water goes everywhere. It flows. It goes with the mood of what's happening. Just be like water. Let it happen. Go with the flow. Don't get too rigid that you can't bend. The other thing water does is that it's everywhere. It dominates. It goes wherever it wants to go. I like being like water. Be like water. One of the last things I want to leave you with is that having the courage to follow your dreams of owning your own business does not mean that you don't have fear. And overcoming your fears doesn't mean that you will never have fear. Instead of trying to overcome the fear, I encourage you to embrace the fear and to use it to your benefit, to remind yourself that you're going to get over this and that you can do more, and that the fear is not the dominant player in this situation, and that you are strong enough to push through that fear. And that's it. I'd love if you connect with me. Let's see if I could go back here. I love connecting with people. I am a business mentor and coach. So I help men and women, mostly women though, that are looking to become programming. Thank you. Neuro-linguistic programming. Men and women that are looking to start their own business or grow their own business. But now I'd love to go in here and see what you guys have been saying, because I missed the conversation in here. So I'm just going to scroll up, and what I would love for you to do, if there's anyone that has a question, now's the time to ask me. Put it in the chat. They had told me that I can hear you, or you can request to come into the room with me, but I don't see that possibility here. I don't know. Also, if you're coming in late, put your LinkedIn in here, connect with everyone in this space. It's all about connection. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Jennifer. I already said hi to Jen. Ferkin. Magda, I saw you. Hey, Renee. Thanks for coming. Inez. What is the best way to present oneself and convince a firm that we are the kind of person they're looking for? It's also a challenge for me. Yes. Yes, that is true. I did not cover that this time. I think when you're, not that I think, I know, when you're looking to present yourself to a firm to know that you're the person that they're looking for, it's also about, I personally think that it's also part of your personal brand online. So making sure that you present yourself as the person that knows everything, as an expert, so that they already can get to know you. Because I know not every manager does this, but I know a few managers will go and Google you, depending on the role, to see what you're like and if you're a good fit for the company. They want to see that you are an expert. So that's one of the ways that you can best present yourself even before they meet you. And when you're in the room with them, or nowadays online, one of the best ways to present yourself is to have that confidence inside, to feel that you can do the job, because that kind of comes out whether you think of it or not. If you don't have the confidence, they can see that. And if you do have it, they can also see that. So find a way to embody the confidence that you are the right person for the job. Asking for your fair share of selling. So true. Sometimes afraid of not knowing enough. Yes. Not being able to keep up with others offering a similar service. This is one of the things that it actually doesn't matter what other people are going to offer. It only matters about you. People want to work with you and your firm because of who you are and the way you present yourself in person. You can't worry about what other people are offering, because particularly in the space of creative agency, everyone's offering something similar. But what you're offering is a little bit, it could be different in the way that you offer it, in the way that you offer your services, in the way that you offer your product. So think of it that way, and never worry about competition. There's always enough work out there, and there's always enough. It's kind of a growth mentality, that there is enough. I'm not sure if I said that. Mai said that she's afraid people won't like her product or service. If you like your product or service, if you think it's going to help people, test it out, because there's always that pilot stage with other people, and get that feedback and know how you need to tweak it. People will like your product eventually. If you don't find the right people in the beginning, you will eventually find them. Being afraid of my product is not good enough. Okay, rejection. When we talk about rejection, what is it that you're afraid that they won't like you? They won't like the product? Because there's two. If they don't like the product, you could always fix it. If they don't like you, you can't fix that. They just don't like you, and you'll find people that do like you. I'm a career counselor. A lot of people are afraid of bragging. Yes. It's not bragging if it's true. The waiting. Don't do the waiting, guys. Don't wait. For me, preparation turns sometimes into procrastination. Yes. This is one of the biggest things. You're procrastinating, and then you don't do anything. Yeah, remember to pinch your nose. The Wonder Woman, the Superwoman stance. Yes. Oh, playing music. That's another way to get your mojo back and to feel confident. Play music. Thank you again. It's neuro-linguistic programming. I don't know why I forgot that. Be like water. Oh, thank you guys. I'm so glad you liked the presentation. Ooh, how to write a good cold email. Okay. If you're going to write a cold email, which I hate those, the best way to write it is to think of the structure in terms of the first thing that you want them to do is keep reading. So what are you going to say? You should right away talk about the pain point that you can solve, or the problem that you can solve. That's the first thing you should talk about. And then talk about how you solve it, and then who you are. And the how you solve it, who you are, can be interchangeable as you write it. But the first thing should always be, I'm going to solve this for you. And then how. Touch on their pain point. There's more to that, but I don't think I have enough time to get into that one. There's an ask to share audio button at the top of our page. Yo, it's not on the top of my page. I just have the moderation thing, and then it says 0 requests in the queue. So, hi, Dragana from Serbia. Oh, wonderful. Everyone should be connecting, guys. Oh, you're welcome, Ivana. When one feels that they don't deserve to be you feel like you don't deserve to be at a specific place or meeting. What do you do then? You have to address why you don't feel that way. And I hope you're addressing it before you go to the meeting. And a good way to do that is to make a list of why you should be there. Because they invited you to the meeting, or you got the meeting through someone. Someone thought that you should be at that meeting. So do it in reverse and start writing down, why did they do that? Because they like you? Cool. Because they think you have a good product? Great. Just write down all those things and read them back to yourself and read it out loud. Do you guys do affirmations? Because this is also really good for overcoming imposter syndrome. All your affirmations should start with I am. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am capable. Say that to yourself in the mirror. I find this really helps when you can look at yourself saying it and absorb it. I have a friend, she does each of her affirmations, she has 5. She does each one 10 times every morning. And she made her husband do it too. And it's boosted his self-confidence so much, and hers as well. So I recommend affirmations when you're feeling that low. But if it's about this specific place or meeting, then definitely make the list of why you were even invited. And it's a good reminder. To answer Ines too, I would also say sell your soft skills that match those. Yeah. Agree. Oh, great. Pinch your nose like water. That's a good one. I'm so glad you liked it. If you have any questions, please let any more questions. Oh, do I have a podcast? It will be out next month. I'm working on it. I have an Instagram, a LinkedIn account, and a podcast I'm working on right now. So hopefully it'll be out there in 2 weeks. Thanks for asking, Ivana. The viewers have to hit the ask to share the audio. Yeah, no one's hitting the ask. At least I don't see it. How do you stop the physical signs of fear, like voice shaking? Okay, so this is the 4-7-8 one. The physical shaking, the signs of fear, all of that is, you can almost feel like this tension in your chest, in your body. The 4-7-8, so breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, and then breathe out slowly for 8 seconds. And you have to do that quite a few times, sometimes 2 or 3 times, sometimes a little bit more. Also, shaky hands, hold something in your hand, your glass of water, or the edge of the table, if you're doing a talk, edge of the podium, glass of water, keys, depends on where you are and what you're doing, but hold on to something for the shaky hands. Hi, Dr. Carlin. Oh, great. Let's see. So that's it. I don't see any more questions. I think I've answered all of them. I'm hoping that this will be open enough so that I can go back and connect with everyone on LinkedIn. If I don't get a chance, I'm going to try my best anyway. Hopefully you've also connected with me on LinkedIn. I'll put it in here again. I really would like to keep up with you guys. Oh, good. Thanks, Chiritra. Oh, no, Suchitra. That's a nice one. Say access chat, you can save the URL. Great. Thank you for that one. And if you think of questions afterward, you could always send me a message on LinkedIn. I'm there a lot, or on my Instagram. I'm also there. Not as active, but I'm there. Great. You're welcome. Thanks, Andrea. There's no more questions. Oh, that's so good. I don't know if it's because I answered everything and everyone feels like they know it all now, or I didn't give enough, so there's no questions.